How did Pringles start? What if we told you that around 2.3 billion cans of Pringles are sold every year across the globe? Pringles, the famous stackable potato-based chips, were created by the American company Procter Gamble. Originally called Pringles Newfangled potato chips, this snack quickly became a household favorite. But there's an interesting and long history behind how Pringles came to be. So, let's dive in and see how Pringles started, what inspired its creation, how they got their name, and why they are so popular worldwide. It all started in 1956 when Procter & Gamble, or P&G, decided to tackle a frustrating problem many snack lovers faced: broken, greasy, and stale potato chips. For your information, potato chips became popular in the 1920s, thanks to new packaging methods, making them easier to distribute. But as we said, people wanted a solution to the common issues of broken chips, greasy fingers, and stale taste. So, Procter & Gamble handed this challenge to Frederick J. Bohr, an innovative chemist whose mission was to create a new type of chip that would solve these issues. Bohr rolled up his sleeves and got to work. And you know what? He spent 2 long years developing something entirely different. Instead of the traditional thin slices of potato, he created chips from fried dough and gave them a distinctive saddle shape, scientifically called a hyperbolic paraboloid. To keep the chips fresh and unbroken, he even designed a unique tubular can, which became as iconic as the chips themselves. But here's a fun fact. Although Bohr was brilliant, he struggled to make the chips taste good enough to impress. After putting a lot of effort into the project, he was ultimately reassigned to work on a different product. Then, in the mid-1960s, another researcher from P&G, Alexander Liepa, picked up where Bohr left off and found a way to make the chips taste even better. A sad thing for Bohr is that while he was the mastermind behind the unique shape of the Pringles chip, it's actually Liepa's name that appears on the patent. And here's an even cooler twist. Gene Wolfe, a mechanical engineer who later became famous for his science fiction and fantasy novels, played a big part in the process. He helped create the special machine that cooked the chips to perfection, bringing this iconic snack to life. What we love is that the brand took its time to bring Pringles to the spotlight, and it really paid off. Instead of rushing to introduce their product, they made sure everything was just right before presenting it to the public. So, when was the first time people tried Pringles? Well, in 1968, P&G introduced Pringles in Indiana. The earliest advertisement appeared on October the 3rd of that year, when a newspaper in Evansville showcased Pringles as something new and exciting, available at Kroger. It wasn't an overnight sensation with a massive rollout across the country. Instead, they gradually expanded distribution, testing the waters and building anticipation. By 1975, Pringles were finally available across most of the United States. But it didn't stop there. Fast forward to 1991, and these uniquely shaped chips were being enjoyed worldwide. This careful step-by-step approach allowed the brand to perfect its marketing and production, ensuring that by the time Pringles hit shelves everywhere, they were ready to win hearts globally. So, how was the name Pringles chosen? There are a few interesting theories about how the product got its name. One theory points to Mark Pringle, an inventor who filed a US patent in 1937 for a method of processing potatoes. His work was even referenced by P&G when they patented their own method to improve the taste of dehydrated potato chips. Another theory suggests that 2 P&G advertising employees who lived on Pringle Drive in Finneytown, Ohio, were inspired by their street name, which sounded catchy when paired with potato chips. Some believe the name came from a Cincinnati telephone book, while others claim it was randomly picked out of a hat to give the brand a family-friendly feel. Originally, Pringles were not Pringles, but were called Pringles Newfangled potato chips. However, this name brought up some controversy. Other snack companies argued that Pringles didn't qualify as real potato chips because instead of being thinly sliced from whole potatoes, they were made from a potato-based dough. Things got so heated that the US Food and Drug Administration had to step in. Yes, you heard that right. In 1975, the FDA decided that Pringles could only use the term chip if it was within a longer phrase like potato chips made from dried potatoes. That phrase wasn't exactly catchy or easy to market, so Pringles chose to rename their snack as Potato Crisps instead. Decades went by, and Pringles found themselves at the centre of yet another debate, this time in the United Kingdom. In July 2008, P&G argued in the London High Court that their snack wasn't technically a crisp, as it's called in British English. Why? Well, according to P&G, Pringles were only 42% potato, and their unique curved shape was something you'd never find naturally occurring. Because of this, they claimed Pringles shouldn't be classified as a potato crisp. At first, the court agreed with them, which meant Pringles could avoid the 17.5% VAT tax applied to potato-based snacks at the time. But things didn't stay in P&G's favour for long. Less than a year later, in May 2009, the Court of Appeal reversed the earlier ruling. Despite the loss, P&G revealed they had already been proactively paying the VAT and didn't owe any additional taxes. A couple of years later, big changes were brewing for Pringles. In April 2011, P&G announced plans to sell the iconic snack brand to Diamond Foods of California for a whopping $2.35 billion. This deal was set to supercharge Diamond's snack business, making it more than 3 times its original size. But things didn't go as planned. After a year-long delay because of issues with Diamond's accounts, the deal completely fell apart in February 2012. On May 31, 2012, Kellogg officially swooped in and bought Pringles for an even bigger price tag of $2.695 billion. Kellogg bought Pringles as a way to grow their snack business around the world, and it turned out to be a huge success. The move helped them become the second largest snack company on the planet. Then in 2024, an even bigger surprise happened when Kellanova, the parent company of Kellogg, agreed to be bought by Mars Inc. As of making this video, there are 5 Pringles factories worldwide: in Jackson, Tennessee, Mechelen, Belgium, Johor, Malaysia, Kutno, Poland, and Fuyuan, China. When it comes to Pringles' advertising tactics, the brand has consistently showcased creativity and fun, making their campaigns memorable to audiences worldwide. One of their most popular slogans is "Once you pop, the fun don't stop," used in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Ireland. This slogan, along with the original "Once you pop, you can't stop," perfectly captures the idea of how addictive and enjoyable their chips are to eat. Pringles' advertising history goes all the way back to 1968, when their first television commercials were written, produced and directed by Thomas Scott Cadden. These early commercials highlighted the unique qualities that set Pringles apart from traditional potato chips. Back then, they were called Pringles Newfangled potato chips. The ads talked about how the pull-top cans kept the chips fresh and unbroken. They also explained that the chips were stackable because of their compact shape. One can even hold as many chips as a big bag, but without the mess. Over time, Pringles leaned toward more engaging advertising approaches. By the 1980s, the company released the Pringle jingle, a catchy tune that focused on the fever for the flavor of Pringles. The lyrics made the chips sound irresistible and fun to grab. Not to be left behind in the competitive snack market, Pringles continued evolving their campaigns in the 1990s and beyond. Advertisements started humorously comparing Pringles to regular bagged chips, which were portrayed as greasy, broken, and inconvenient. These relatable commercials showed a group happily snacking on neat, fresh Pringles while another person struggled with messy and disappointing chips from a bag. So, this is the story behind the iconic potato chips that we all know and love. Now, before we end the video, let's quickly talk about what makes Pringles so unique. Well, the first thing is that Pringles are only about 42% potato. The rest of the magic comes from a mix of wheat starch, corn, and rice flours, vegetable oils, and a blend of seasonings and flavorings. They also include an emulsifier, salt, sweeteners, and both natural and artificial flavors that give you that unmistakable Pringles taste. And speaking of taste, you'll be surprised to know that Pringles used to come in just one flavor. Before the 1980s in the United States, the only Pringles flavor was the classic original. Today you can find them in lots of fun and exciting flavors. Now, let's take a closer look at the nutrition. A single serving of about 15 Pringles packs 150 kilocalories, 2.5 grams of saturated fat, 150 milligrams of sodium, 110 milligrams of potassium, and 1 gram of protein. It's the perfect snack when you're looking for something crunchy and flavorful to munch on. So, this was everything you need to know about Pringles. We all enjoy a good batch of these iconic potato crisps, and now you have some fun facts to share with your friends the next time you dig into a can. Whether you prefer the classic flavor or one of the many new ones on the market, Pringles will just keep getting better and better. Let us know in the comments below, when was the last time you ate Pringles? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.